Hi, my name is Keith Pendleton, President of Provider Law and co-founder of Topology. I'm also a healthcare attorney who has spent the last 12 years helping healthcare providers get paid based on law. The purpose of this presentation is to briefly outline the vision of a unifying educational platform in the healthcare industry. Even more specifically, our goal is to advance and fuel healthcare associations and organizations through the development of a national insurance manual built on top of an open source educational framework. The founders of Topology believe that not only is such a platform greatly needed, it will also hugely benefit the healthcare associations and organizations that participate. We believe it will generate funds for your organization. We believe it can help to generate and also serve your membership. We also believe it will hugely benefit all stakeholders involved, including companies that get involved with the project. So here's a quick overview of what I'll be covering. The first point is that we have started a national insurance manual. In fact, the first content module of this manual is already done. The first module focuses on fixing many of the payment problems that frequently occur in the accident injury arena. We're calling this first module our Assignment and Lien program. The thing that will make the manual so unique is that it will focus heavily on law-based tools, that is, boiled down, immediately useful pieces of information that can be very easily implemented. In my experience, what providers are really wanting is not just information, but rugged and solid information that they can trust, distilled down into highly useful chunks and converted into tools which can be put to use, tools that have been run through a crucible, tools that have been tested and work. A national insurance manual won't happen overnight. It will be built out one slice at a time, one reimbursement problem at a time. The manual won't be tons and tons of text. Rather, it will consist largely of tools combined with recorded videos about how to use those tools. Okay, so the idea here is that the manual will help your association generate funds, serve your membership, and even grow your membership. For example, I'm currently working with a group in Minnesota referred to as the Doctors Lodge Network, and I'm doing so to help build up its membership, and so we're already seeing motion here. In particular, what we're looking for is associations who want to cultivate and deliver highly useful information to its membership. Yes, I think a commitment like this can absolutely serve as a basis for generating funds and growing membership. Lastly, the National Insurance Manual really serves as an illustration of something bigger, something we're calling a unifying educational framework. To understand this, let me put it this way. When we create the National Insurance Manual, it will basically be a highly powerful educational website. The idea here is that you, as the association or network, will not only benefit from the content of the manual, but also from the underlying web structure itself. It'll be like a stamp. The vision here is that associations will be able to use the insurance manual website like a stamp and stamp out their own highly powerful educational websites. Websites, by the way, that do a really good job of talking to each other. This is what we mean by unifying educational platform. So highly useful content, extremely powerful websites, websites that talk to each other. In fact, this is our proposition. I hear all the time we need to unify. The profession needs to unify. Education is one of the main things associations do. It's so extremely important. Shouldn't our efforts to educate also be more unified? The proposition here is that an open and shared educational platform should be a major agenda item in the effort to unify the profession. So like I said, the first module, the insurance manual, is already completed. And I definitely encourage you to check out this brief video. You can find it at topology.net. Go to www.topology.net and then click on the Assignment and Lien program link. The video and the testimonials we've amassed will help to illustrate the huge potential for a national insurance manual, particularly if it's done right. But the question may arise, why focus on an insurance manual? There are really several reasons for this. First, check this out. It's estimated that in the back pain industry alone, uncollected care is running at $25 billion annually. Think about that for a moment. Think about how huge that number is. And we're only talking about the back pain industry here. Uncollected care, that's care which is rendered but which hasn't been paid either by the insurance companies or by the patient. Here's the second point. We know from experience that 50% of this uncollected care is reasonably collectible. In other words, of that $25 billion, $12.5 billion is a reasonably achievable goal. Thirdly, providers routinely cite getting paid as one of the chief business concerns. In fact, when you think about it from a purely business perspective, here are the big three. Grow your practice, get paid, reduce risk. If you're doing a good job at those three, you'll have a thriving practice. So think about it. Essentially what we're saying here is let's take the problem of uncollected care and use it to help channel and fuel association efforts. Think of the potential here. Even if we're only successful in collecting 1% of that $25 billion, that's $250 million. What if a planned portion of that amount were to be redirected back into association efforts? Getting paid is one of the chief business concerns. The problem is quantifiable. This is why we're focusing first on an insurance manual as a way of generating funds for your association and helping to grow membership. Now, when we speak of a national insurance manual, realize that it starts with one word: law. Healthcare is a highly regulated industry. Insurance is a highly regulated industry. You've got two industries that overlap, both of which are heavily entrenched in law. If we're going to do a national insurance manual, it has to start with this one word and concept called law. Now, let me illustrate for you exactly what the role of law is in the National Insurance Manual. Here are two major trends going on in healthcare. The first trend, which has been going on for quite some time, is that the line has been shifting. The line between patient and insurance responsibility has been shifting to where patients are responsible for more and more of the bills and insurance is responsible for less. That's trend number one. Trend number two is that line between patient and insurance responsibility is becoming clouded. Okay, so no matter whether the line is moving or not, if the line is behind a cloud, think of how much money is being lost on both sides of the line. So let's take that same image here, place the cloud over the line, right? What does law do for you? How does it help? Well, first, it enables you to lift the cloud so that you can see the line between patient and insurance responsibility. Again, put that cloud back. When the line between insurance and patient responsibility is clouded, look at how much on both sides of the line is being lost. Once the cloud is removed or lifted, now you can clearly see the line between patient and insurance responsibility. Second thing that law helps you do is it helps you get really good at dealing then with both sides of the line. And so that illustrates what the role and purpose of law is in helping you get paid. Now, when we're talking about law, realize we're not just talking about tons of intricate, detailed requirements and rules. That is not going to be the focus of this National Insurance Manual. Rather, the focus of the manual will be on law-based tools, taking portions of the law and making it really easy to implement in the practice. So let me walk you through just a few wireframes here to illustrate how this National Insurance Manual will operate. Pretend that you, the provider, come into the home page of the National Insurance Manual and you decide that you want to find out how, in your accident injury cases, you can protect your bills. And let's pretend that you've heard about a company called Provider Law. That's not the only content developer out there, but you want to find the resources of Provider Law regarding protection of bills. Well, in that case, you would come into the manual and you would click on the button here called Protect Bills. You might click on the button called Provider Law, and maybe you wanted to see tools developed by Provider Law relating to the protection of bills, so you click on this button here called Tools. Pressing those buttons might result in taking you to the next screen, which asks, are you looking for something in particular? So you begin to learn as the provider that there's various ways of protecting your bills. There's assignment theory. There's UCC lien theory. There are promises to protect. So there are various ways of protecting your bills, and this screen asks, are you looking for something in particular? So let's pretend you've heard about this thing called a UCC lien, and you say, I would like to find out more about that. You click on UCC liens, you press next, and up pops a list of resources. Now these are provider law resources related to the protection of bills, and in particular, tools. So here we're just showing one hit of the search results. There may be several resources over time that would pop up. And here you see that you're looking at the model assignment and lien document developed by provider law, applicable to all states. There will be a version number, a little description of that resource. If you wanted to view that practice form, you would click on the box saying View Practice Form, and up would pop a document viewer. This might show either all or parts of that document, and then it would ask you, do you want to receive this resource by email? Now realize that participants in the coalition here all get advantage now of this building email database. Okay, so the next thing it would ask then is, provider, what format would you like to receive this document in? And lastly, do you want to receive topology news alerts regarding this resource, such as when it's updated? Which leads to the collection not only of email addresses, but the collection of text numbers and fax numbers. Now those text numbers and fax numbers could be restricted just to, for instance, notices of regional seminars in the doctor's area, so that the provider might be willing to provide that information. But here we see the collection of data that helps the association and various content developers stay in closer communication with the end user, the healthcare practice. To reiterate, the role of the National Insurance Manual is threefold: help your association generate funds, help your association grow and serve the membership, and pave the way for a unifying educational platform. And recall, what I mean by this is highly useful content, a stamp for stamping out highly powerful educational websites, and websites that talk to each other. Now, something else I should mention is that a key facet of this project is openness. Openness is key to collaboration. It's essential for unity. And when we say open, we don't just mean open participation, but open content, at least where the contributors get to decide. We mean open source code and open data architecture. That's the part where we turn our website into a stamp that can be used to stamp out other sites. We're talking about open know-how and open trademark. The point here is that developing the site will require community input, and there's no better way to incentivize community input than to remove concerns over intellectual property. Now, we've developed a three-part funding strategy. The first is we will be funding the National Insurance Manual through provider law training. Provider law has agreed to contribute a portion of its profits towards this project. Secondly, sponsorships, and thirdly, sale of equity in topology. So to summarize, provider law is building out a National Insurance Manual with a focus on tools. The first training module is completed. That's called our Assignment and Lien program. This will be used to generate revenue and grow association membership, and ultimately create a unifying educational platform. And recall, what we mean by this is highly useful content, a stamp for stamping out highly powerful educational websites, and websites that talk to each other. In fact, this is our proposition. Our proposition is that an open and shared educational platform should be one of the major agenda items in the effort to unify the profession. If your group would be interested in discussing this topic further with us, please feel free to contact me or any of the other board members. That's Jeff Kronk and Dr. Howard Fiddler. I can be reached at 888-852-2654, and we look forward to speaking with you further on this topic.